Hello and greetings. You have been pulled into the Black Dimension. This is the first inaugural broadcast of our block show where we'll discuss several different topics that impact the entertainment industry as we know it. And today's topics, we will be dealing with Dave Chappelle, Unforgiven. Um, it was a short special. I think I don't. They got Kevin Hart's Zero Fucks Given. That was a Netflix special. We're going to cover the Loki trailer, which is going to debut as a series on Disney Plus, and we are going to talk about Wonder Woman 1984 and the impact that it will have on theater watching and streaming as we know it. How's everyone today, fellas?
Doing well. Let's get this party started.
You heard that, man. We're doing good. Enjoying the Black Dimension. And it's a nice little vortex around here.
All right. Now, let's go to the first topic. Dave Chappelle, Unforgiven. Do you stand with Dave?
I stand with Dave.
Yes, I also stand with Dave. What? So basically, Roger, do you want to start this one off?
Well, sure. I say I stand with Dave. Heck, I even grab a stool and sit with Dave. You know, the Unforgiven was a unique special. It was Dave as only Dave can be Dave. I'll say that because technically, I guess it was a comedy skit, but there was some laughter in there, and there was some very serious stuff too. And Dave brought about he brought out a few things. You know how someone stole a joke from him when he was a kid, which was a very interesting story. He got fooled or tricked, I would say, in a whole three car Monty situation, and then how that translated over until Dave Chappelle does not make royalties on his show, Dave Chappelle show, and Dave Chappelle wasn't really happy with that, and he felt like he signed the contract, even though he had a lawyer look at it. He felt like his lawyer was kind of in with the other lawyers of Comedy Central at the time, because why would his lawyer have him sign something where he does not get royalties on the property? Which is a very good question in my opinion. You know, bringing that particular thing out to me, that was I would want to, you know what I'm saying, I would want to get at that guy. I say that if I had a lawyer who I'm paying on my side, why would he allow me to sign a contract and I don't get royalties? Why would that not be come up in conversation? What y'all think, fellas? Do y'all think that was just overlooked, or
I think that Dave Chappelle was taken advantage of. Like he
Yep.
said, he was a young man with a baby. He was broke at the time, so what else was he gonna do but sign this contract? Just basically he was taking advantage. He was taken advantage of, and his name was used in all of that. So basically, this special was a PSA to boycott, Chappelle's show. He said boycott himself because he's not getting anything from it, and is making him feel some kind of way that his work, his vision, is being used for people to still profit from, and he's not getting anything from it, and that's not right. Period.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense all day. He got scammed, he got hustled, and I think this man has gotten to an iconic stage to where he can do that. I mean, who else do you think could really get out here and say something like that? I think with the chick who made Sean tried that. Don't listen to my music. I'm not making any money, and nobody cared. Who else could you do this with?
Yep, Dave is pretty much uncancelable at this point in time because I mean he's a man that pretty much has placed himself in control of his own destiny. Even with HBO Max, he said he pitched Chappelle's show to HBO, and they told him literally, "What do we need you for?" And kicked him out of the office. And the irony is that years and years later, on the streaming service HBO Max, they start streaming the very same show that they said in the past that they didn't need. So how screwy is that? To be told that you weren't needed, and then all of a sudden they need you. So so, so with Netflix streaming Chappelle's show, he went to Netflix and he has a pretty good relationship with Netflix, and I could base that off Sticks and Stones. I mean, and the mega success that was. So Netflix pulls the show, and Netflix is to be commended for that, because they didn't think about the almighty dollar. This is an example of a corporate business, a corporation. I mean, a corporation nonetheless, but they finally listened to, what, what you can kind of see as a little guy, but this is a little guy that just so happened to be Dave Chappelle. So, I mean, it was just some cool stuff to observe. The power to be able to, to have some power in a powerless situation, seemingly.
Yeah, and can we all agree that this man has surpassed a level of funny to where I don't even think he's writing this material. He's just talking. He's just talking, and it's a comedy special.
It's like Roger said at the beginning. He's just being Dave.
What Dave has said, and I think he's proven it. He said he's a joke telling machine. That's just what he is, and he does seem to be that way because he did tell some comedic stories while really giving people a lot of good information. Because anyone who heard this special could use this in a lot of different areas, whether it be in music contracts or any type of other entertainment contracts. It gives you an idea of something to look for and to double check. Is your lawyer really your lawyer? Because I think with what happened to Dave, um, he can't feel like his lawyer was his actual lawyer because he feel like the lawyer he had was in on it with Comedy Central, was happening to be the NC at the time, and then Comedy Central's lawyers because he felt like he was ripped off. Now, how do you get ripped off unless unless you, I mean, if you,
They
how
ran
can
it on
I say it? What's that?
his lawyer was in on it, like the car money game.
Yeah, it's like how do you, as a representative of me, how do you let me do a deal and you make money off me making money? I'm pretty sure. Well, maybe no, it must have been like a flat fee lawyer or whatever at the time because this was when he was younger in the game.
Well,
But
I think a lot of those lawyers work for either companies or they work in the same little environment, so it becomes a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. If they worked something out with Dave, or maybe they referred him to Dave, right? And then he keeps getting referrals, and his job is to make the new people give up a little piece of their soul in order to get some money, and he keeps getting referred.
well, you know what? It's a shame that a man trying to make it in the business, and for those of you who do not know, Dave started in comedy at 14 years old. So as a young man trying to make it into the business, and then you have you got what did he say? His wife was pregnant at the time, or he already had a kid.
I think
But
he had
He said he already had a kid. He said he
right,
already had a kid by then.
but either way, either position would definitely put some pressure on the brother to make you do something. And if somebody waving a contract in front of you, and you have the power to make more money than you've ever made in your life, which I'm pretty sure that's what that contract was, then I mean, you almost have to sign. You know, not saying that Dave didn't do right by getting his own lawyer, but I really got a question: where did that lawyer come from?
Yeah, he was buddy buddy lawyer.
You know,
Well,
Well, they have these lawyers called entertainment lawyers, and he might have been like this is with quote fingers recommended. Like he said, he's young. He's young and he's in the business. So he he doesn't know. He didn't know nearly as much as he know now.
No, of course, yeah. They recommend the lawyer to you, and he keeps getting referred to other people. So that lawyer keeps making a cut, and all these people have to do is sell a little piece of their soul.
Well, I don't think Dave was trying to save his soul at all. I think as he's now realizing that he's not getting any residuals from Dave Chappelle, he don't want people looking at it. So if you all did not watch his special and you don't plan on watching his special, Dave Chappelle is just saying that he's coming to the fans because the fans are his boss, and he's asking us, his fans, to boycott his show. Not any particular streaming service, just boycott his show. So if if anything that's involving Dave Chappelle comes on any other platform, he said keep the platform, just don't watch that particular thing with him on it. And I gotta commend them for that because well, I ain't gonna say commend, but that was a kind of a brilliant move. I'll say that. It was a brilliant move to go to the fans and get some type of fan support. Because contract wise, he was screwed at the end of the day. He has really no power to leverage anything unless the fans come on his side.
Right.
Yeah. Well, also Dave Chappelle has displayed that he's not gonna let his collective ego get the best of him. You know, the Chappelle show is arguably Dave at his funniest. So for him to be put out there keeps his name out there. And Dave Chappelle really is the comedian that really gives zero fucks at the end of the day. So he's going to be a household name wherever he goes. Like I said, he's uncancelable. Whatever move he makes, even saying boycott his own show. What kind of man says boycott me? Boycott me. What kind of man does that? Is a
And
man
is
of
able to
principle.
get away with it too.
Yeah, able to get away with it, but he's a man of principle. Okay. All right. So, Donnie, you have anything else?
Nah, I felt like Dave Chappelle flexed his legend on people, and yeah, it's not a good look, Comedy Central.
Uh-huh. No, not a good look at all. So here's the thing. Here's what I think that the best case scenario would be. Just pay that man. Pay him what you owe him.
Has there been conversation of them folding on the subject or no?
No, I mean, you know how these multimedia giants are.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's roll on to the next.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, Kev. So, if you check the back chat, I got a little message for you. Hold on. There you go. Boom. Yeah. But yeah, now Dave Chappelle is probably one of the most iconic there has been as a comedian. So for him to be able to do this, yeah, this really set a precedence and a tone. I'm wondering what this is going to bring for the future of artists and is this going to start a trend?
Yeah, a trend of taking back what's rightfully yours. Yeah, I hope this trend continues because many people, many talented people, not just in acting but in music, have been screwed over royally by people who haven't done the work. They just knew how to maneuver around laws and
Mm,
policies, and that's their version of right. To take
mm,
advantage of the uninformed, and that definitely is a welcome change that I'm willing to see. These people need to be paid for their talent, not some, not some corporate yahoo uh, taking up all the money. Keeping all the money for themselves because that's just corporate greed. And any pushback on corporate greed, I totally champion.
Send you forward, huh?
Yeah, I'm forward. So, um, all
Mm.
right,
On
let's
to
move.
the next one.
Let's on to the next one. Okay. Now, I have to say that when I was watching this special right here, this Kevin Hart zero fucks given. I mean, I began to wonder, did he give a fuck about being funny in this? And I mean,
No,
like it's no real, like, yeah, this is a dig on Kevin Hart. But, me and Roger were having this conversation the other day. I feel like Kevin Hart was just, he didn't have a chance to really tour the country and go from venue to venue to test out which jokes were funny, which one wasn't. And could that expose a comedian, for not being naturally funny? Like, we just got through talking about Dave Chappelle and how that seemed like he didn't even write that out. That was just an improv. That was just Dave being Dave. And he came off as funny without even trying. Now, is this to say that Kevin Hart couldn't be funny if he tried?
no. So my thing is like I listen to like the Joe Rogan Experience, right? And on
Yeah.
there he's talking about being a comedian on his podcast on a consistent basis. And one of the things he's always talking about, he talks about this with other comedians, is going on tour, doing comedy, going out there and kind of stretching your legs to make sure the stuff that you say is funny. And I think that Dave Chappelle has been doing comedy since he's 14 years old. Uh, like Roger said, so he's kind of stretched and walked his funny bone to the limit. He just innately knows what's funny. Um, Kevin Hart, not so much. I think Kevin Hart is somebody who has to go out there and tour and work the material and make sure that it's great. In addition to that, I feel like he has some political restrictions going on with him to where he can't say certain things, so he's trying to watch his tone. And he's had such success with certain bits, he's trying to recreate them. So he's got a whole lot going on, and I think it just made for a bad show.
So basically, how you gonna name a show Zero Fucks Given when you give a fuck about a lot of stuff, as far as your career? Like, Kevin Hart is not that. I mean, he's not that kind of person. I think he falls short of what makes comedians legendary these days, like a Richard Pryor or an Eddie Murphy. Somebody like that, even Robin Harris, with his short-lived career, unfortunately he died before even taking off. But I remember those guys when they did their specials, even though they were raw and they were crass, they were funny. They didn't care about the political views. They were true to the comedian. Kevin Hart is your prototypical 2020 comedian, the guy that tries to stay away from certain things just so he won't hurt certain feelings. Um, Now, I will say this: he had a nice setup. It was in his house. He had a comedy stage. That is what a comedy stage looks like. He had it set up nice and everything. He had, like, I guess, certain invited guests, but it didn't even look. Could he have told him, "Hey, if something not funny, just kind of try to laugh, make it seem funny"? So he
Ooh.
could have he could have debriefed him on some of that, because they didn't even appear to be that entertained by what he was doing.
Mm. Yeah, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. I don't know. I don't know. I like. I feel like, yeah, he probably just bombed and they didn't know what to say. They just had to take it.
I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't mean to be hard. I mean, he's been funny, but seriously though, seriously funny was way funnier than this one. I think that Kevin Hart, if he's a true comedian, that he can definitely do better than what he did on this one.
So my thing is, you look at the older comedians. The older comedians had an era where they could get away and say whatever they wanted to. Like, you couldn't have Eddie Murphy raw and hilarious today because people would riot in the streets. He had a whole bit about Mr. T being gay, a homosexual Mr. T. Hey, you could not do that in stand up today, right?
No,
Uh,
not at all. I mean, they like that. the comedians like years ago, like when the 2000s came in, they do tours and they hit certain college campuses, and then they would be subject to letter writing campaign. I mean, letter writing campaigns and complaining about their style of comedy. And they even had a girl, like a college girl student, write them an open letter on how to do comedy. So they decided, like a lot of comedians have retired because of this. There's like, no, y'all too sensitive these days. It's like they're the worst. Like Dave Chappelle even touches on this in Sticks and Stones, which is still on
Mhm.
Netflix. I think what Kevin Hart is trying to do, he's trying to avoid all those bullets coming at him, all those social justice. Like he's trying to be politically correct as a comedian, and you cannot do that. It ruins
No,
the art. It ruins the art of comedy, and it really is like it. I mean, I've said it. Comedy's dead.
yeah,
Is comedy is dead. Stand up comedy. If you worried about hurting feelings and you're a stand up comic, then maybe it's stand up comedy is not stand up comedies anymore. But what I think was Kevin Hart. I think what really like messed him up a lot was being, being put through the ringer as far as like losing that host job at the Oscars because that joke from Seriously Funny. Yeah, so I think I think that kind of messed him up a little bit. Is having like and even with ironically, this is a conversation that Dave Chappelle said he had with Kevin Hart. He said Kevin Hart said it was his dream to host the Oscars. Which Dave Chappelle describes as a weird dream for a black man, but it was taken from him. So Kevin Hart, whenever he goes in the public eye, he tries to be this champion of positivity. He went on Joe Rogan talking about championing positivity, but it sounded like he was being real condescending of people who have opinions of him on the internet. You
it
know,
it, it was that's what it was. He got bit by the Hollywood show bug, right? And that Hollywood show bug told him everything he had to do. He probably got a little coach that told him, "Hey, listen, you gotta have this image. You want to be this guy. You don't want to be that guy. You want to be this guy." And he's doing everything he can in order to push that image because it's gonna make him the most money overall. But in on the way, he he lost a little bit of funny.
yeah, he didn't lose a little. He lost a lot. Like it's like you can even see it. Like he's like cookie cutter in all of his roles right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
The same guy.
yeah, even Life of Pets, same guy.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Is it? That's funny.
I
Um,
mean, I watch it with my kid. It's funny enough, but is a children's film. But every film, even Jumanji, he's the same guy.
mhm.
He's becoming like a black Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
guy in every role.
Every single role.
But there's a difference. Ryan Reynolds seemed to be able to maintain a level of comedy, and Kevin Hart is allowing himself to slip because he's getting like this like Obama complex. He's trying to make everyone happy, and you can't make everyone happy doing comedy.
You sure cannot. Remember, Eddie Murphy was blown up at the time, right? Eddie Murphy blew up in what the early '80s or the late '80s, early '90s. He was a legend. He wasn't Mister Everybody's best friend. He was just a funny dude.
Hmm.
So
True.
at certain points, you can't be the household name who everybody loves, who does no wrong. Terry Crews figured that out the hard way, right? He should have learned that lesson from Terry Crews. But you being a comedian, you got to step on some toes sometimes. You
Yep.
have to be a habitual line stepper, as it were.
Yeah. Yep. And nah, I mean, it's just I don't know. He's slipping into that. Name another unfunny comedian.
Another unfunny comedian, Dane Cook.
Dane Cook. Yeah, he's slipping into that Dane Cook. Like, kind of style. Like he's probably just better off doing films, taking someone's direction at this point. Is there
Yeah,
any hope for Kevin Hart to come back and be a viable comedian?
mm,
Maybe. If he takes his head out of his, you know what, it just comes up and get a smell of reality, then I think that he'll be okay.
I think the dude has too much going on in his own head, and he's getting in his own way. So if that were to change, he could probably come back and tell some funny jokes. But he could also go the way of Dane Cook. Sorry, he could go. Yeah, he could go the way of Dane Cook and take an extreme loss and go into obscurity.
Mm, and me personally, I don't want to see that happen to Kevin Hart. I think he's a immense talent, and I think that he just needs to get back to what brought him to the dance and stop worrying about what making everybody happy. Because if I were him, I would tell Netflix, just like Chappelle, please take zero fucks given off Netflix. It's just no, it did not do it. I would not watch it again. I mean, I want. It just is. I'm sorry, it's not Kevin Hart's best. In fact, it's probably his worst.
Oof, he says probably his worst.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be due to what Roger said, what we talked about. He didn't have a chance to go around in a test market or go, because of COVID, he couldn't go from venue to venue and test out the jokes to see which ones were funny and which one wasn't. But, when you see a comedy legend like Dave Chappelle, and people like let me throw some names out there: Bernie Mac,
Mm.
just Steve Harvey, when he was doing comedy, how those guys were naturally funny, like J. Anthony Brown. I say J. Anthony Brown is funnier than Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart just went mainstream.
Jeez, you said J. Anthony Brown. Well, yeah, all right. Well, I give it to you. I'm a big fan of Jay Farrell, but Jay Farrell's too in his own way, for my opinion, too. So yeah,
Oh, yeah, Jay Farrow. Yeah, yeah. He's yeah. Yeah, he was too much for Saturday Night Live.
he
So
was, he was.
yeah, so Kevin Hart, maybe he'll return to it one day, maybe he won't, but you know what? We'll keep our eyes peeled. So
Well, I think that it's the smart route because if you look at because now that I think about it, I'm looking at Eddie Murphy and the way his career went. His career went more towards the kids, and he stopped doing comedy.
mm,
So I think maybe he bowed out because he realized he couldn't really give the comedic funny the level of funny he wanted to give. Maybe I don't know.
mm. Well, I mean,
He just
yeah,
doesn't do it.
yeah, that's the way to think about it. Kids will make you change your perception on a lot of things, including like, how you are, what you say will have you, perceived a certain way in the public, so being careful. But why don't Kevin Hart just do what Eddie Murphy did and just sign up and just do films and that's it? Lighthearted films for a while. Don't go out there and like embarrass yourself. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm just saying that, what, if Kevin Hart is the level of comedian that he supposedly is, then he would have done better than this.
Yeah, it strikes me as he took this deal trying to get some money, and it didn't work out the way he thought it was going to work out.
Not at all. Even like at the point of taking it personal, when a big social media star says something about him.
Well, apparently, according to him, he says he always gives one response. But yeah, no, the dude's clearly getting in his feelings. Because the media's been tearing him up. Because I don't know if you know this, he got caught cheating. So
Uh,
being that he got caught cheating, with his wife was pregnant at the time. He ended. There was a whole bunch of scandal behind it. But one of the things that allegedly went on, or at least from his end, is one of his good friends is the one who set him up with the blackmail from the recording that was taken of it.
mm,
And then come to find out that his friend didn't actually do it. And there's a lawsuit in the mix. So he's got a lot going on right now.
wow, that's messed up. That's messed up for him. Like you never want to wish anything bad on anyone. If we were to make it about just zero fucks given, then we can say whatever we want to about that. But Kevin Hart's still a human being. He still is. I mean, and if he cheated, he wrong. Especially on his pregnant wife. Like, come on, man. This like
Mhm.
per public perception, guy. Public perception. You don't want to
Tried to
embarrass.
make it seem like he was pushed into it, and then he was blackmailed, and this, that, and that. Yeah, so I really he probably made that statement. He made that title as a statement, and it didn't quite work out.
Zero fucks given. Yeah. Also, social media had threatened to cancel him because he had his baby had a onesie on that said the title of his special "Zero Fucks Given." So people like the social justice warriors kind of went nuts when and I can kind of see it a little bit. Why would you put a onesie on a baby that said "fucks" on it?
It's my baby. What you gonna do about it?
Yeah. That's kind of that's a slippery slope, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, just like Kevin Hart, zero fucks given, do better. All right, so let's move along here. Let's get to a part that I was kind of looking forward to. Now, we are all fans of the MCU. You know, myself, yourself, and Roger. By the way, um, yeah. So Disney Plus is doing a string of television series that's going to tie in with the movie continuity. And one of these shows is Loki. Tom Hiddleston is reprising the role of the mischievous Asgardian. Well, he's kind of an Asgardian, but if you've been paying attention to what's going on in the MCU, but it's a pretty good looking trailer, I would say. I mean, it's got me kind of excited to see the MCU starting to get back in motion, especially after everything that's happened with the pandemic, and just good to see that there's going to be a resurgence of one of our favorite movie verses.
I'm sorry, you cut out on my end. What'd you say? Was that last bit?
No, I was just saying that one of our favorite movie verses, the MCU, is great to see it get about to do a resurgence, get restarted, and with the Disney Plus television shows, which includes Loki, because you also have Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is definitely a spinoff of the Captain America films, and you have WandaVision, which is the television series that is centered around the Scarlet Witch.
So I'm taking, and this is how I'm taking these TV shows to be, right? So I'm taking Loki as it's its own movie, um, and that's low key kind of how Kevin Feige presented Falcon and the Winter Soldier, at least. Um, but I feel like these are characters who are great. They have their own dynamic. They deserve a feature length film, but they don't feel like they would grow to like a Spider-Man. So what they're doing instead is they're putting them in the TV show format, which people are going to watch in droves because it's a TV show, right? So
yeah, and let me add this. Let me add this real quick. It's a TV show with big budget movie effects.
right. So
If anyone is tuned into the Mandalorian on Disney Plus, you'll
mhm.
see exactly what I'm talking about. What an epic feel, and it's really changing the dynamic of how we do TV.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that Mandalorian too, by the way. But yeah, so I feel like these shows are going to do a lot for the MCU and change like they say with WandaVision. They say WandaVision changes the dynamic of the MCU, and those effects from the TV show go into the movie universe. So yeah, it all fits in. I'm very curious what they're going to do with Loki and how they're going to run this to the MCU.
All right, so let's get this trailer started. Let's watch the trailer and let's discuss our thoughts are on what we are about to witness.
Do it, do
So,
it, do it, do it.
so this is the Loki trailer, and it starts off with a familiar scene. So watch and enjoy, and we'll give you your thoughts. We'll give you our thoughts afterwards.
Get your hands off. You're taking me somewhere to kill me.
No, I'm taking you someplace to talk.
Well, I don't like to talk.
But you do like to lie, which you just did. Because we both know you love to talk. Talky.
How long have you been here?
I don't know, it's hard to say. You know, time passes differently here in the TVA.
What does that mean?
You'll catch up.
Glorious. Brother, I'm down. You'd better be ready. Come on. What did you expect?
Yeah, that felt good to watch.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Yeah, is the let me explain the TVA real quick. Is the Time Variance Authority. Basically, Loki is out of place in time. He's out of place in time, and there has to be an authority that keeps that kind of stuff in check.
Mm-hmm.
So by Loki, like by the events of Endgame, that the Tesseract getting out of their hands was not supposed to happen. You know, but due to a botched due to kind of a botched event, unexpected turn, which was the results of caused by the Savage Incredible Hulk, unwittingly. Loki was able to scoop the Tesseract and escape the clutches of the timeline, and now the Time Variance Authority, I guess, is the extra normal organization keeps things like this in check, especially for a tricky, mischievous, powerful trickster such as Loki. So,
Yeah. So I have a theory on the purpose of the Loki show. Excuse me. Yeah. So my theory on the purpose of the Loki show is to introduce Kang the Conqueror.
To introduce Kang?
Mm-hmm.
Well, explain the connection with Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, so he's going through time. The TVA is catching him, and it looks like he's at different points of time, running around, living his best Loki life. Kang the Conqueror is a time traveler, so I'm thinking that this is going to intersect Kang the Conqueror in that way. That they're both time travelers. TVA is going to mention Kang the Conqueror, talk about Kang the Conqueror, and maybe even Loki connects with him. But I think he's going to be the one to usher in the villain again, like he did in the last phase.
Oh, okay. So Loki is going to be the guy that is traditionally the guy that brings in the big baddie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been rumored that the big bad guys were anywhere from Galactus to Doctor Doom to Kang the Conqueror, who Kang the Conqueror is actually more serious than a lot of people think. you
Yeah.
know, yeah, but and Doctor Doom, he's going to be introduced anyway because they did announce the arrival of the Fantastic Four, and Doctor Doom is a villain that I've been looking so forward to debuting. Um,
If done right. I'm not.
Yeah, oh well, yeah, of course, if it's done right. And the MCU, they've made pretty much a lot of fantastic decisions that got it to the point where it has. And really, honestly, with what I've seen out of like the Mandalorian, which is Mandalorian is John Favreau, the director of the Iron Man films.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can't go wrong with John Favreau.
yeah, you can't go wrong with him at all. And he proved that with 2 seasons of the Mandalorian. Period. That was the man. Like, we'll talk about the Mandalorian another show. But this is just that this Loki does have me excited. This Loki trailer does have me excited, and I think is that this is going to be a way to get even though Loki did die at the hands of Thanos, this is a slick way to get him back into the MCU.
Checks all the boxes, brings him in. He's the harbinger of the apocalypse every time. You can't, yeah, you can't beat Loki for that purpose. So the TVA, and like I said, this I feel like he should have a movie, but nobody really wants a Loki movie, so they do the TV show, and it explains how he screws up for everybody.
Yeah, so the Disney Plus shows should be treated as like, well, as far as the MCU Disney Plus shows, they should really be treated as extended movies.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, which is a great concept, by the way. And I can't wait to see how they tie in with the films themselves. Now, really, on this next one that we're about to talk about, will the films have the traditional movie theater release, or will they stream to Disney Plus? Because of everything that's going on, because there's definitely a change and a change to the dynamic that's going on, and that's going to be tested out with our next subject, which is ironically a rival to this continuity of films right here in television shows. Where as we go from Marvel to DC. So, do you have anything left to say on this topic of the Thor's estranged brother?
No, no, I'm excited to see it, see where the direction goes. I hear that they're gonna have a little child, possibly a black one. There's a girl Loki. Yeah, they kind of run around with this full gambit of game back here.
Well, Loki is such a likable character. There's no telling where they could go with this particular series. So it ought to be fun. I'm sure it's going to be exciting. I'm sure it's going to be one of the best produced television shows, including heroes in it, in quite a long time. I'm sure it is because the fact that you have the same people who work on the movies and work on this series, I expect a whole lot, and I think it's going to be a great experience.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So the verdict, I think, with all three of us is we are all looking forward to this. We're all forward to looking forward to seeing Loki return. Well, to the small screen with a very big budget feel. So you don't lose anything here. So strap in. Speaking of streaming, and the impact that it's going to have on films and movies. Roger, remember that I mentioned that MCU films. If this little, even with this little kind of a test run, I would say, of our next subject is going to impact how we see theater and movie viewing as a whole from here on out, if it's in fact successful. And what I am talking about is the Wonder Woman 1984.
Wonder Woman.
Yes, it will be making its film debut in both theaters and on HBO Max. So, for those of you who are subscribed to the HBO Max streaming service, you are definitely in for a treat, I would say. But it is not only that you'll be able to watch a newly released theatrical film in the comfort of your own home. This right here could possibly impact how we all look at the film and television as a whole. So you do. Let's talk about the seriousness of what is about to come. I mean, because it definitely will have serious impact.
Yeah, it changes the dynamic of how movies are shown. You have the option to go to the theater, which I think a lot of people will take, but it'll be immediately put onto a streaming service. So you could wake up that morning, or 12 o'clock midnight, boom, go on, watch stream. Um, People are gonna love that aspect of being able to watch movies, and that's gonna change the dynamic of how these films are shot, how they're uh, watched, just everything.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well,
like,
well,
go
I
ahead.
think is I think with the fact that you're doing something like this, I think COVID will create one situation because people are kind of limited at this point about what they can and can't do. So it's going to be interesting to see how long we'll have to be quote unquote forced in the home. And then, because this would have been a major blockbuster movie. I'm pretty sure it would have done $1 billion in the theaters. So it's kind of interesting to see that them do this, because how do you make your money back on the films if you go to the streaming immediately? Wow, even if you are going to open them in theaters the same day. And right now, I don't even know where you can go to theaters. And and for this to open up in theaters and to be able to start streaming on Christmas Day simultaneously, yeah, like what do you do with that?
It says a
You
lot,
know,
but they're also promoting their streaming service. So I think this is to boost their subscribership. Now, yeah, like you said, I don't know how they're making this money back, but HBO Max is $15 a month. So if you have 1 million people doing $15 a month, you got the budget. It just becomes a question of what else are you adding to the streaming service. You got advertisements in these movies. They're making their money back. I'm sure they have it figured out. But investing all this time, effort, and energy into these streaming services is probably where it's at, because they have a whole bunch of releases coming out throughout the year. And if they're pushing this narrative, Disney Plus has to push this narrative. Because remember when Disney Plus released, was it Milan? You had to pay an additional $30 for that movie. So you already had to pay for Disney Plus streaming service, but in order to get Mulan, you had to pay $30. And less than 4 or 5, 6 months later, Mulan is on the streaming service for free. So
Which doesn't seem right at all. I mean, if you wanted to do something like that, you should have charged the price of a theater ticket. But Warner Brothers said this is no extra charge to people who have HBO Max. All you have to do is have the service.
yeah, my thing is, I think they're just trying to get people onto their streaming service, which is a very smart move on their part. However,
Absolutely.
I don't think that that'll last. So I think at some point that'll flip to, hey, just give us $10 for the movie and you have it, which I will gladly pay. If Wonder Woman came out and it said pay an additional $10 to have this movie on you, I'd have paid that. It done deal, because you would have saved me for the movie theater. When I lived in Philly, the movie theater ticket was like $17. I'd have paid that in a heartbeat to get Wonder Woman. So yeah, it's a win.
It's a win. But do you think that we'll one day go back to just theater watching?
Um, Theater watching is fun. It's an experience. Um, like when I go to the movie theater with my wife, we typically go and we go to the theater where you can sit and eat and have drinks, and you get the little recliner chair. That is a fun experience. So as soon as that opens back up, by all means, I'm going to continue doing it.
Yeah. Me too. I feel like that it does create a memory, and some things are meant to be displayed on a screen bigger than your house. You know,
Hmm.
because that's the way it was meant to be. You know, they put all this work into the visuals and the special effects. They want a place where you can see all of that stuff. You know, and it adds to a big, pretty picture. Plus, especially coupled with a great story. You know,
Yeah,
it's
remember IMAX?
yeah,
Do
I'm
you
at
remember going to the movie just for IMAX? Come on.
yeah. So I don't want to see the theater experience go away. I don't.
I mean, I think it'll eventually go away, but it'll probably be a while before something like that happens, unless COVID kind of the COVID-19 issue pushes us there a lot faster. But I think even after people take vaccines and everything's quote unquote declared safe, I think people will still want to go out because that movie experience is definitely different than just watching it at home. And yes, you can have a good situation at home, but who's gonna invite their friends over and all that over? We're gonna watch this one particular movie together. I don't really see that happening a whole lot. So the movie experience is gonna stay unique, in my opinion. You know, and why if you don't have the movie experience, that's gonna affect dating to a certain degree.
Mm, I'm so removed from going on a date. Yeah, yeah, it does change up. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, yeah. A couple of us on we're out of that game, but we do understand for the people who are still in that game. Yes, it does kind of take away from that experience. We don't want to see it go away from people. I mean, movie theater watching is a big part of entertainment. It is. You know, it's important. It's important that we do keep certain staples alive. It's hard enough not being able to go to sports games, and being able to go to certain events where they are able to gather and everyone can have a good time. But can't really don't want to take theater watching from us too. So, I mean, it'll. I feel like it'll return to some form of normalcy.
I feel the
I'll be
same.
happy when it gets there, that's for sure. But now, would there be a huge rush on? Would there be a huge rush on people getting that streaming service? That I wonder.
Hmm.
I,
Oh yeah,
I mean, I'm
people are
pretty
trying to
sure it's
get
going to be a
there.
good upswing, but how big of an upswing? I'm
People
gonna
are
be
trying to
curious.
watch Wonder Woman, so it's a lot of people going for it. Like I myself, when I figured out Wonder Woman was coming, I started busting grapes to try to get to the streaming service. So, I mean, people are going to do what they can to get there. Now, how they get there, that's another story. But
Okay. Well, yeah. What is your anticipation level for this film? Like, let's start talking about like the impact that we definitely know that this is going to have impact. And Warner Brothers pretty much announced that all of their theater releases are going to be streamed on HBO Max, including the upcoming Mortal Kombat film.
ooh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, they every
Uh,
theater release in 2021 is
no,
going
I didn't know
is
they had Mortal Kombat.
yeah, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat. We can talk about that some other time. But yeah, the new Mortal Kombat film will be on HBO Max. I think it's gonna either debut in March or May. So
Gotta get
what?
that.
Yeah, so what I have is the trailer for Wonder Woman 84 pulled up. So let's go ahead and take a look. Uh, so and see what the hype is all about.
But you ain't yet ready for all that you will do. The time will come, Diana. And everything will be different.
Citizens of the world, I'm here to change your life. Anything you want, anything you dream of, you can have it.
You look like you saw ghosts.
Diana, look at you. It's like not one day has passed.
I don't want to be like anyone. I want to be my apex predator. You've always had everything, but had nothing. Well, now it's my turn. Get used to it.
I've never been one for rules. The answer is always more. The way I fly, they will never find us.
I forgot to tell you.
What?
Radar.
Will they shoot at us?
What did you do?
You know, I'm not so keen on this one. I figure you are, but you know what? I'm ready to go.
I think we can do better.
Parachute pants?
Yeah.
Does everybody parachute now?
All right. I say it's a winner.
Yeah, I think that'll be a great movie. Bye, y'all.
Yeah. I honestly, yeah, it does look good. Yeah. So shout out to J3. Thanks for participating in the chat. Yeah. Yeah. So Wonder Woman 84. So does that have you? Would that make you want to get HBO Max just to see this film?
I mean, I did, so yeah.
What about you, Roger? What do you?
I haven't as of yet. How much is a subscription to them about now?
I think
$14.99.
$13.99.
14.
$15. I consider it. I'll say that.
Yeah. So it's like in order to really like buying all these streaming services that they throwing at everybody, you would probably have to end up cutting the cord. Like it just doesn't make financial sense to have all of that and cable. But I could deal with Netflix, HBO Max, and but to me, the film itself it would definitely be a film that I would have gone to the theater to see, and I liked the first Wonder Woman. I mean, I wasn't unhappy with it. I thought it was one of the DC films that actually were good besides Shazam.
Oh yeah, Shazam's pretty. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely would have went to see it at the theaters, and I'm gonna say, just keeping it real, I'm gonna see this movie. So yeah, I'm probably gonna end up getting just to see the movie, but there's gonna be some other wonderful stuff on there too. And for the Black Dimension purposes, of course, I'm going to subscribe to get a subscription to the to HBO Max, because there'll be some things we'll need to see for entertainment purposes. But this would have been a blockbuster film, in my opinion, just like the first one. And the first Wonder Woman was a great story. I'm curious to see how they're going to bring Steve back from back up to today's, well, to 1984's world from being in the 40s. I'm curious to see how they're going to play that.
You didn't know Wonder Woman was a necromancer?
You never know how they're gonna do it in the films. Sometimes in films, even though I know you're joking, but sometimes people always do it a little bit different. When stuff gets translated to a film, so it should be interesting. But it looks like a great film, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too. And I'm gonna tell you today, I'm gonna go ahead and sign up for HBO Max, get my subscription.
You better.
Yeah, because I gotta binge watch the rest of Silicon Valley myself though. So
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a. I think it's a worthwhile purchase. Yeah,
Well,
very
I'm
worthwhile purchase.
I'm also interested in the Zack Snyder Zack Snyder cut of
Snyder
Justice
Cut.
League. I'm actually interested in that, so I'm gonna want to watch that too. So
Yeah, they're doing that right because that was supposed to be released an hour at a time, right? Four possible, four possible blocks an hour at a time. If I'm not mistaken.
I heard it might be up to 6, but whatever it is, I do plan to check it out.
yeah. So don't you miss any of this stuff, and we will be coming back to you with a Wonder Woman movie review. So be on the lookout for that. So uh, we're going into final thoughts. Any final thoughts about anything that we have talked about during this broadcast?
Well, I'll just say that the entertainment industry is starting to look up again. We definitely had a break and a pause. I was worried that when stuff came back, would you get that same quality that you used to get? And I think we're going to be in for some good treats. It looks like so. I'm glad about it.
Okay. What about you, Donnie?
Yeah, I'm super geek because the whole dynamic of movies are about to change. I can't wait for any of this to go down. Yeah, like a kid on Christmas, I might try to get a VPN and watch Wonder Woman today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about the direction of the entertainment industry. Despite that, everything is going on with the pandemic, and just my takeaways from the broadcast is, um, I can't use anything Chappelle show, watch anything Chappelle show. I had a couple of cool Chappelle show avatars that I won't use because I'm trying to respect and stand with Dave Chappelle. So I do understand that, it's sometimes that, a lot of things, some things mean more than, just watching a television show. As far as Kevin Hart and his zero fucks given special, he should have gave a fuck about being funny, and that's what I'll say about that. But it's funny how we also talked about two rival comic book universes on this show, which have very great things happening for them via streaming services. And I love how, because of the changing of the dynamics, that one is going to force the other one to become better. And the winner at the end of the day is all of us fans, including the one watching this broadcast as well. So, what's up?
Yeah, the winner is the viewer at the end of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, the winner is the viewer, and and we want that stuff to continue winning. So, just here's how you can win. Also, start on the path to winning. You can subscribe to this channel and allow yourself to get pulled into the black dimension. So yes, this block show will be our weekly appearance. Hopefully everyone watching enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you to the chat. You have been pulled into the black dimension. On behalf of Donnie and Roger, this is Kev, and hopefully you can find your way back out.
Negro.